Errol Spence Terence Crawford, which one has the better shot of beating Floyd Manny Mayweather? What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, the question has been posed. Out of Terence Bud Crawford and Errol the Truth Spence Jr., which one of these two fighters would have had the better shot of beating Floyd Mayweather? Now, the question comes up because Terence Crawford recently said some things in an interview about sparring with prime Floyd Mayweather. His claims were that he felt he beat Mayweather in the sparring session. Mayweather quickly responded, said that wasn't true. His father came out, said it wasn't true. Now, I want to pose the question to the audience, whoever's watching, whoever cares about my 2 cents. Which one of these two guys do y'all think would have actually beaten or could have come close to beating Floyd Mayweather? And we'll throw Manny Pacquiao in there as well, just for ish and giggles. But when it comes to those two guys and Mayweather first, who would have had the better shot? Now, I think it comes down to styles of fights when it comes to these 3 guys, because and Manny Pacquiao as well, so all 4 of them.
You see, you got to get up on them close, okay? And draw back, not too far though. And for the nose, I'm out. Preferably the nose. This is soft.
Preferably, huh?
Nigga, you know what I mean. It's over then.
There was a special style of fight when it came to Floyd Mayweather that you had to put up in order to try to beat him, which nobody ever did. There was a special style of fight that you had to put up to beat Manny Pacquiao. A few people accomplished that. And I think the same goes for Spence and Crawford, but the thing about that is the sport has changed. You know, it's not as rugged and rough and tumble as it once was. You know, I think neither one of those guys would have actually beaten Manny Pacquiao. I don't think either one of those guys would have come close, especially with a prime Manny Pacquiao. Now, if you're talking about Manny Pacquiao today, I would say they have a 45% shot at beating Pacquiao. I would still give Pacquiao a 55% shot at winning against either one of those guys, even at his age today, because he does come from that rough and tumble background. When it comes to Mayweather and Errol and Terence, I don't know if Errol and Terence, and this is what I was getting at, actually possess that rough and tumble style. Mayweather, you know, he was the king of setting up fights. He would write stuff into the contracts to where guys could not beat him. And when it comes to these two specific guys, this isn't shade toward Errol or Terence. It's, like I said, it's a different time in boxing. But I think both of these guys are like the rest of the new age in boxing. There are rehydration clauses in these fights. There are venues, special venues that guys want in these fights. There are guys that try not to fight outside of certain areas. There are guys who only fight under promotional companies. And when you think about that and you put all that into the mix, then you have to say that probably neither one of those guys would have beat Floyd Mayweather or even come close. But if you had to pick one and say, well, this guy has this or that, I would say it would depend on the weight class. Now, if Terence Crawford was able to catch Floyd Mayweather at like 130 pounds, where he was very quick and where he was really strong and he possessed, I think, knockout power at that weight, then I would give Terence Crawford a shot to beat Mayweather at 130. I think Manny Pacquiao would have beat Mayweather if they would have fought when they were supposed to have fought. I think it was at 140. He would actually beat Mayweather at the 140. He would have beat Mayweather at 147 if everything was equal and even in that fight. But as we all know, it wasn't. So
Space not here, he's in our ass, but so tight he can't pass gas. Sound off, sound off, break it down.
You like to rhyme, boy?
What? Don't you feel dumb? Tim! Look at you!
can't change the past. Now I think Errol, if you're talking about 147, this is the best 147-pound fighter that's been of the past 5 years, and he's proven that by getting in there with all the best competition. And he didn't just fight one guy to get all the titles. You know, he had to fight multiple different fighters to collect those titles, where a guy like Devin Haney, you know, he just happened to have to beat one guy, and he got multiple titles out of that. So I think because Errol has been tested at 147 and has had some pretty decent fights, that he would have a decent shot at beating Mayweather at 147 if he could stick to his game plan. Now, Mayweather, once again, comes from that rough and tumble background of boxing, and as Pretty Boy Floyd, he was a heck of a fighter, and I'm never going to take that away from him. Money Mayweather was more of a character, but he's always going to be able to tap into that side of himself whenever he needs to.
It's all of nigga. Act like we don't do this. This ain't by mistake. This is how it goes.
So I would say that there might be points during that fight where Errol doesn't know what to do with Mayweather because he's not from that rough and tumble background. But because Errol does have a really good 147 pedigree, I would never count him out of any 147 fight. So out of those two guys, I think it would depend on the weight class, and I think it would depend on the style of fight. Now, if you talking strictly 147, I actually think Floyd Mayweather would have probably knocked Terence Crawford out at 147. Errol Spence, I think he might have gotten to a 12-round decision, but I think Errol has enough to give him a lot of problems at 147. And I think that would have been one of the tougher fights that he had. If it's an even fight, if there's no special stuff written into the contract for either side, if it's just a 50-50 fight, then yeah, I would give Errol a serious shot at beating him. When it comes to Manny Pacquiao, if we're talking prime, Pacquiao would have beat both of them. And once again, if we're talking prime about Mayweather, Pretty Boy Floyd would have beat both guys. Don't get me wrong. Money Mayweather, 147 Mayweather, I would give Errol a shot at that one. When it comes to Pacquiao, prime Pacquiao would have destroyed both of those guys. You know, and prime Pacquiao was 140 to 147. Some of his 135, 130 fights could be considered prime as well, but mostly 140, 147. I think he only had one 140 fight, if I'm not mistaken. I think he would have beaten both guys, and I think it would have been the speed that neither guy would have been able to keep up with. It wouldn't have been so much the power, because he did have power. He did have power then, but I wouldn't say it's so much the power. I would say it's the foot speed and the hand speed that neither guy would have been able to keep up with. And if we're talking who would have took it all, you know, if all four of those guys had a tournament and it was all on the up and up and they were even fights, there was nothing special written into any contract, there's no rehydration clause, ain't nothing, you know, it's just 147, all four guys, you know, winner takes all. Manny Pacquiao in the prime would have beat all three of those guys in the same month. Let's say you had to do all those fights in 1 month. He would have beat them all in a month. In a month. So 1 week have a fight, the next week have a fight, the next week have a fight, and the next week have the champion. He'd have beat every one of those guys in a month. Believe me. Or don't. You know, ride with whoever you want to ride with. Throw it down in the comment section below. Let me know what y'all think about all that. Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, that Instagram, that YouTube, that Twitter. but you are more than likely to get a response on the tube. So why not holler at me over there? If you want to collabo, feel free to hit my Gmail. It is flockofcards@gmail.com. If you want to feature a product on the channel, if you want to sell something through my channel, you can also hit me at that same Gmail. And let's make it happen. And we are mine.
I know you like it, bitch. This shit right here is groovy. Don't need no camera, bitch. My life is like a movie. This that shit you can ride to. This that shit you can ride to.
Just had to get it out, you know what I'm saying?
This that shit you can ride to. This that shit. You say you a Mac need bitches. Overcut dope, you pack need stitches. I heard him clapping, but it's not enough hands. Cause it's too many rappers, not enough fans. Too many bitches, not enough pants. So she walk around bottomless, hippopotamus ass. I hope that you acknowledging the bottle and grass. I have your whole pipe polishing, swallowing fast. For my niggas that'll do it if they got to. If it goes down, they got you. Attack whoever in the way of the pay, they'll jab you. For the males, females, they slap you. I know it sound kinda mean, I'm a harsh fellow. And you a marshmallow, heart pump, orange jello. Hell no, they ain't fucking with the dude. I the monster squad, that's a lose-lose. I know you like it, bitch. This shit right here is groovy. Don't need no camera, bitch. My life is like a movie. And this that shit you can ride to. This that shit you can ride to. This that shit you can ride to. Okay, this that shit. Hey yo, I'm smoking on the finest pine that you can find. So even though I'm a pimp, I can't sell dimes. Super fresh, piranha black jeans on. I just wanna get rich, put my team on. And niggas talking about Supportville hip hop, but ain't supporting shit till they homeboy shit drop. What's the use of being political? Why hypocritical? My niggas is all I listen to. You wonder who the shit, well it isn't you. I'm fly as a bird, y'all pigeon food. All you monkey ass niggas get ridiculed. Monster squad, what real niggas listen to. Put your money on sauce, that's your best bet. Out of GGP, niggas spot less. I'm the best, and you are just a pest. And I got pest control to suppress any threat. Louis Key. I know you like it, bitch. This shit right here